Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Energize Your Online Business podcast. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. As always, I am joined by my fabulous co-host, Kate Satars. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
Hello. And today, Kate and I have the pleasure of being joined by entrepreneur extraordinaire and star circuit sales system student, Krista Lockwood. Hey, Krista.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to chat with you. And you and I have gotten a chance to get to know each other a bit in our coaching calls and in the program. But I'm really excited to share you and your business and your story with the greater community. So yes, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you.
So I guess as I was saying, I know a bit about you and about your business, but the listeners may not. So tell us about yourself and your business.
Yes. So I own Motherhood Simplified, and it's about how I learned how to declutter and make my house really easy to live in, even with 5 kids. And that's the basics of it. My husband and I were born and raised in Alaska, moved to Florida in 2013. And we had 3 kids then. We didn't bring anything with us. And my life got really easy, like crazy simple. And I didn't understand why or how until about 5 years later, and had another baby and noticed that all of my friends were still saying things like, I can never keep up on laundry. I can never keep on toy mess. But I wasn't dealing with that anymore. And I was like, how do I have, 4 kids, but I feel like I can run a business and my husband runs a business and our house is easy to maintain. Like, what happened? And I realized in hindsight, we got rid of all of the pointless stuff that made life difficult and gave us all of these pointless messes and honestly pointless to-dos in our life so that we could just enjoy it and focus on our kids and our marriage and our life. And that was how I got started. So I started that in 2018 and now I'm here. Yeah. Long story short.
That's it. I think it's so insightful. And also the fact that whether you have kids or not, you acquire not just physical stuff, but schedule stuff and emotional stuff and to be able to purge that and to clear all of that out and focus on the important things is so important. And especially for parents, because there is so much stuff vying for your attention that it can be hard to balance it all and still focus on the children who need it most, and spouses, if spouses are around, that need it most. Yeah.
Yeah. So
what has your experience been like selling your offer?
Yeah. So I actually started off, I think, very naively, but that worked for me. I didn't know what I was doing. So I started a Facebook group and I really just invited my friends at the time via a Facebook group that I had started, who we were all pregnant at the same time, to come learn how to declutter from me. And I knew in my head, because I had seen other people doing it, selling things online, like, okay, if I can just build a community of people who want what I have to offer, I can create something that I can sell for them. And so that was my whole goal, was to build the community and get them excited. They would basically tell me what they wanted and what they needed. So I started the community, got to know what they needed help with, and basically ran tiny little challenges of like, okay, so you all are dealing with laundry. Let's have a laundry challenge, right? I'll give you some tips on how to create a simple wardrobe that works, that meets your needs, but isn't so much that you feel like you're living out of laundry baskets or can never catch up. And they loved it. And so I would just ask them, what's next? You want to do toys next? Okay, let's do toys next. Dishes, all of those things. I ran those for free to begin with. And what it did was get people excited. They wanted to join the group. They were spreading it word of mouth. And I had it in my head that if I can just package this up into a teeny tiny little product, and just Googled like online course platform and found Thinkific and was like, that'll do. Put it in there, $7. And then I sold that for $7. It was a challenges that I had run a couple times for free live. And I knew them well enough to turn them into something that I felt like I could sell. And it was just $7 because really, I just wanted to see if I could do it. I got like 10 people in it, and then I increased the price, and then I increased the price again. And eventually it turned into the course that I have now. And I think this probably happens for most entrepreneurs, is you get momentum and you start doing things and building things and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And all of a sudden it gets really muddy and kind of even cluttered in understanding what's working for you anymore and what's not. And it can get frustrating. And so I've gone through that cycle a few times throughout my business of like, okay, this works until it doesn't. And this works until it doesn't. So how do I reevaluate this and make it work again? And that's kind of where I was at the end of last year when I found Meatball.
And so what was it that that interested you in the Circuit Sales System program? Do you remember?
I do. So I was in a point where for about a year, honestly, I was in a cycle of telling myself, okay, I'm going to do one launch, I'm going to do one challenge, and I'm going to build up some revenue. And then I'm going to figure out what to do in between to make it so that I don't have to do this anymore. And so I would do that, and I would do the launch or I would do the challenge, and it would work, and I would get some revenue and basically buy myself some time to figure out what to do next. But then I would never quite figure out what to do in between. And so that worked for probably like the first 6 months of that year, where I was able to maintain my revenue through those live launches. And I would try things in between. And what I ended up doing, and understanding this in hindsight, was I burned out my audience because they were like, okay, this is predictable. Like, we know what you're going to do, right? You're going to throw something out there. You're going to discount it. And then we may or may not buy it. It was kind of just a slow erosion of my credibility with them, their trust of me, but also what I had to offer them. And so I just got complicated and it got confusing. And I was selling my offers short, I think, because I was just focused on the sale. And so I would pull out a part of my course, right? And be like, well, if you don't want to buy the whole thing, you can buy this one little thing. And it was just so that I could meet revenue, or just so that I could figure out how to make it work. And I don't regret doing that, because I think everybody has to figure out what to do. But also it wasn't sustainable. And so then I saw your training and I was like, I think in my head, I had known enough of like, that's what I should be doing. But when you don't know how to like just build the thing, and you don't have like I talk about it like Legos, right? Basically, I just had a whole bunch of Legos on the floor and I had no instructions on how to actually build a thing. I just needed the instructions on how to build the thing. And that's what I understood this to be when I watched the training. And then that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Did you have any skepticism in the sense that you tried these other things and they'd worked for a while? So did you have that feeling of like, okay, this could be another thing that I'd try that maybe puts the Legos together for a minute and then it kind of all falls apart again? Or what was going through your head with that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I don't know that it was skepticism and that I didn't think it would work. I think it was more of a healthy understanding that I can get this up and running, but then I have a strong system that I can tweak and adjust that is easy to tweak and adjust. Whereas before, I'm running launches and challenges and just throwing things out there, but it wasn't structured enough to actually test it and tweak it in a consistent way. So yeah, I don't know that it was skepticism, more as I knew that it wouldn't be something that I just do once forever and then it works indefinitely forever. But I knew that it would work and be structured enough that I could make it work long term by making small adjustments as I go, which is what I've done this whole year. And it's worked.
Having a strong foundation. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and as you say, it's worked. Are you comfortable sharing some of your results?
Yes. So I launched my first circuit pretty quickly, I think, because like I said, I had a good base. But the biggest thing that kind of got me refocused and recentered was the market research, which I know is one thing that you're like, nobody's going to want to do this, but you're going to have to do this if you want to do it well. Right. That was the biggest thing. And it was funny because it's like stuff that it brought me back to the basics of what I knew my people struggled with: clothes, laundry, dishes, toys, and the things that I know that they say all of the time, like the messaging that they say on repeat that it used to be kind of a running joke in the group of like, I know what you're going to say, right? I know what you're going to say. Like, and you can predict what I'm going to say back to you. And so those market research questions got me really back in touch with that, which made the building process easy. And so I spent those 3 weeks, right? Because I'm holding these calls with people, and those three weeks, just sharing those little snippets of quotes and stuff on my social media and writing an email of like, hey, you know, do you ever look around your house and be like, where the heck did all this stuff come from? Like, I don't even know where it came from. Right. And everybody's like, yes, me. So I used that building time to just share that stuff with no agenda other than getting them interested and re-engaged. And then was able to put the free training out that had, you know, which was the video, put that free training out that everybody was excited about because I had been talking to them about all of these things. And now it was in a 1-page thing. They could see it easily. And I actually sent it out to my entire list like a launch. I didn't give them an option to sign up for it, but I was just like, hey, I have a new training and here it is for you. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think I don't remember how much I made, but I remember the conversion for that launch being about 15% of my list at the time. Yeah. Which was amazing. Incredible. I was very happy with that.
And this is your list that you were just saying was kind of burned out a little bit, maybe, or that's incredible.
Yeah. They were burned out from, I mean, I think they were burned out, but they were also confused and kind of exhausted by the way that I was trying to engage with them. Like I was exhausted by the way I was trying to talk to them, right? Because it was like almost from this place of desperation rather than what it used to be for me, which was like, I really understand you and I really know how to help you. And so I think that changed. It was like, it shifted me from that desperation point to like, I really understand you and I really get you. And that came through in my opt-in pages and it came through in the video very clearly. And so, yeah, that first one was really good. It was about 15%. And then I had some downsells and like, I just played around with that, you know, downsells, upsells, played with that in the end. And some of those worked. And that stuff to me is just kind of extra. And it gives me that wiggle room to play with and, you know, see what people are interested in, what they want. And it also gives me creative freedom, you know, to create. I have the base thing, but I can also be a little bit more creative. So like I've created some decluttering subliminal tracks for people, which they really love. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's fun. Which wouldn't have been possible for me before if I was so focused on just trying to get things to sell. So that's been really fun too for me, which I enjoy. I'm trying to think what the other question was. What else do you guys have? What other question?
No, that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
So you mentioned that the market research was a kind of an eye opener, or maybe a good reminder of things that you knew. But it's funny. I think that the longer we're in our business, sometimes the further we get away from our target audience. So that makes a lot of sense. Was there anything else in the program that surprised you, or that maybe you didn't realize you needed or didn't realize would be something that would help you?
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing to me is that my full price offer sells just as well as my initial one, which surprised me. I did not think that would happen, but I looked at just before this just to see what the rates were. I think it's even higher than the percentage is higher than the initial one. My full price one sells at 9%. Mm-hmm. And that's for people, I only count like people who are opening and actually seeing the stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that converts at 9%. And I believe my first one is like a 4%, but that surprises me and makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? You can't, I wish we could, but you can't predict consumer behavior in advance. You just kind of have to build out the system to make sure that they are supported in making a purchase in any way that they want to do so.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the full price sales are what surprises me the most. I didn't have that before. And it's funny too, because I knew as I was doing it, why people weren't buying at full price is because they knew eventually randomly I would be like, here, take this, right? But I don't do that anymore. And that was another thing I did with my launch. The initial circuit that I sent out, I was very specific and I told them, this is what's happened. In the past, I've done this. I'm not going to do this anymore, which could be why that conversion was so high, that 15%. Because I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I even told them that like my audience doesn't know about deadline funnel or anything like that. But I did tell them things like, I've invested in software to hold me accountable because this is what I want for myself. And this is what I want for you too. And so I did tell them that. I don't know that that's necessary for everybody to do, but I did. And
you're building back that trust in what you're saying, and that like, this is the price you're seeing and you're sticking to it, which I think, that's awesome. Good for you. Especially if the value of your product is there. You don't want to devalue it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had people around for years. And so I'm sure they're like, oh, and I see people saying that all the time about other people's businesses and products too, where they don't trust the person and they're annoyed by it. Right. And I wanted to be very explicit and say, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah. Like I don't need to tell you everything about my business. Right. But, my specialty is decluttering and simplifying, not running a business. And I've learned some better ways so that it works better for all of us. So.
Yeah. I think that integrity really counts for a lot because, as you say, because people can be trained that you not trained, but people can come to expect that you have that integrity and they listen to but there's so many other brands. I mean, I can think of a couple off the top of my head where they're like, oh, this is the last time we're gonna do this sale, or we're gonna have this sale now, but you go, no, I know how you operate. I know that once a month or once every other month I'm going to see. So I don't need it now. Maybe I'll do it later. But that integrity really helps people understand that no, this is your opportunity right now. And it's not going to just come around. I'm not going to decide later that I'm decreasing the prices or anything like that. And I think that's an important part of building that relationship with all of our customers and our clients.
Yeah. And it's given me that foundation and that like predictability for my own revenue so that I can do, because I always do like a fall October challenge, ghost or clutter. But it gives me enough like understanding of the back end of my business where I can stop my circuit a month before so that I can promote the live thing to everybody so that they're not confused by what they see on social media versus their email. So those things that get a little bit more complicated when you do want to add those, those parts of your business that you do enjoy, because I do enjoy that part, right? Just once a year though, not all of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that you are, and like what you said, you're going into it and you want to customize it so that it works for you. You don't have to give up the live events that you love and that you actually enjoy doing and your community loves. You can make them all work together and still get that predictability. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yes. Do you want to hear one of the struggles?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know I've seen this in the Facebook group when I was a part of the group part of it, but there are some people who watch the training and are angry and they're mad because I didn't give them everything for free. Or they're like, I watched this video where you gave me some stuff, but you didn't give me enough. Right. And so that's, I think for anybody is hard to hear, right? When somebody, you are putting your work out into the world and it's good. And you also know that you deserve to be paid, and people come back and call you names because they want it all for free. Right. Yeah. So I would say and I've seen people deal with that too. But I think it's important to know that no matter what you do, there's always going to be, even if you gave everything away for free, somebody's still going to be mad that you didn't give them enough.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I think that's a great point. There are just people who expect everything. And I think that's a really great point because unfortunately, it's a part of doing business online. And like you said, even if you did give away everything for free, someone would still have a problem with it. Yeah. And I think having the structure of the circuit and knowing that it works
it works for way more people than it doesn't, makes it easier for you to grow that ability to take that kind of feedback and not make it mean something about you. Because I would get that, like I've gotten that feedback before when I was being unpredictable. When I was being unpredictable. And it just is easier to, it just makes it easier to take that kind of feedback. I'm not even going to say criticism because it's not helpful, but that kind of feedback from somebody.
Yeah. Those people, separate them out as clearly not the people that you want in the program anyway, right? Like you don't want the kind of people who are entitled and expect everything for free anyway. And I'm sure you've also gotten emails from people being like, oh my gosh, thank you for putting together this program. As soon as I watched your video, I knew that it was right for me. And, but for some reason in our minds, we give so much more weight to these strangers who are never going to buy anything from us. And we don't even want to buy anything from us versus the people who are like, oh my gosh, I love this program. This is exactly what I've been looking for. You're changing my life.
Yeah. And even the people who don't buy, because I do the post survey.
Yes.
I get way more positive feedback of, I love this. Like, you totally understand me. I just truly couldn't afford it, or it's just not the right time, or whatever it is. And I feel like they're more honest and vulnerable almost in a way about why they didn't get it, which is helpful for me too. Right. Of like, okay, like you just didn't want it. Right. That's okay with me. Not everybody's going to want it. Cause some people say that too. I'm like, but why not? Why didn't you want it? Right. I just didn't want it.
But it's awesome.
Yes. Like just, I know you want it, but it makes that feedback easier. And there's way more positive. Also for the people who are kind of in an industry like mine, where I'm helping moms, nurturing people. It's kind of a jargony word, I think. But I do think that the way that it's laid out is nurturing them in a way that's actually impactful for them. And when I think about my kids, like that's what I want to do with my kids too, right? Yes, I'm nurturing you, but I'm also going to hold these lines and boundaries because I know it's what's best for you. So that makes sense.
When you mentioned earlier too of, being able to be creative and create new things for the audience that you're serving. So what other ways are you able to show up for the people that are excited to be part of this program?
I found a new love for my podcast, which is nice because the podcast and going live in my Facebook group was what I did when I started. And I got to where I didn't really enjoy it because it was like, I didn't really remember what to say to people. And I felt all of this pressure to like sell to people. And now I have a lot more space to like create social content. Like I don't particularly love being on social media unless I'm creating content that's fun, right? And like finds people who are meant to be. So I've had a lot of creative freedom with creating reels that have the messaging that pull in the right people. And it's very easy to convert them with a very simple ManyChat automation of like, if you like this, comment, whatever, and get my free training. Like that's all I've done this year is go get the free training. Yeah, it's more fun to do those things like the social content, the promoting, the marketing, the podcasting. All of that is a lot more fun. Even hosting the challenge, I actually look forward to it this year. Whereas last year it was like all of this pressure and I had already done like 2 or 3 challenges. So nobody was as excited about it. But now people are like, oh my gosh, yes, finally you're doing it. Right. So we'll see how it goes, but I think it'll be great.
I love that word that you're using, fun. Like it seems like if it disappeared for a while is what it sounds like, but to have that back. And I assume, none of us wanted to get into business to not have some enjoyment in our lives. So good for you. That's awesome. I love
it's very fun. Like I said, the reels, decluttering subliminals, which I thought everybody was like, I'm either going to tell people about this and they're going to be like, too weird. I don't ever want to hear from you again. But no, they were like,
I'm so intrigued.
Tell me more.
Yeah. I'm going to go follow you.
Yeah, such a fun idea.
Yeah, you could do them for anything. They're so easy too.
So cool.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's fun.
Amazing. So now if someone is listening to this and they're thinking, ooh, I like this, I'm kind of interested in the system. Maybe this is something that would work for me. What would your advice to them be?
I think it's probably pretty cliche advice, but to just do it. Like if you've been trying to figure out how to set up a good solid structure and system for yourself, do it. If you're the type of person who especially struggles with like creating your own accountability or your own boundaries, this will set them up for you. I think that was the biggest thing for me when you're an entrepreneur online. You don't usually start with a team or with other people who can tell you, show you where your blind spots are or give you insight into where your boundaries need to be stronger. So if you struggle with those kinds of things, the boundaries, the structure, the consistency, just get it, because you will be able to take it and use it, but then it will naturally be something that you can apply to all of the other areas of your business, right? Like I think about my social media, all I do is promote my free training. I think about my podcast, all I do is promote the free training. And that gives me all of the freedom to do the other parts of my business that I want to do, that don't have to have such hard boundaries, that you can be more creative with, you can have more fun with. Because I do think you need to have both, but not everybody has that natural knowingness of how to build it. And that's what this does. Or at least that's what it did for me.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then also too, if someone is listening and going, Krista's amazing, I need her program. I need to get rid of the clutter in my life. Where can people find you?
Motherhood Simplified everywhere. So motherhoodsimplified.com, on Facebook, on Instagram. I think there's an _ on Instagram, but Motherhood Simplified everywhere.
Excellent. And we will put that in the show notes. Yes,
Thank
exactly.
You.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Krista, thank you so much for joining us. We're so thrilled at your success. And also good for you for putting the work and doing it, doing the market research calls, doing the I won't say tough stuff, but doing the stuff that it would be so easy to skip over. So good for you. Your success is well-deserved, and we can't wait to see where it all takes you next.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And so with that, we will catch you all in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Do you want to learn how to sell and scale your offer on autopilot every single day without the chaos of live launching or the low conversions of Evergreen? Who doesn't, right? Get our free on-demand video training at circuitsalessystem.com/free. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to make sure you never miss a video. We'll catch you next time.